Alrighty all, welcome back to the channel. We're back on the internet together again today. And today is a video that I really don't like making, but Australia is absolutely cooked at the moment. And I've got a number of news clips to talk through on various different topics. So we're going to jump in, but the first one we're going to talk through is that woman, as you all would know, it's been all over the news, who was stabbed just walking to work by a complete random lunatic. Let's watch it.
Good afternoon. New details are emerging about a stabbing ambush on Little Bourke Street, which left an innocent woman in hospital with a punctured lung. It's been revealed her alleged attacker had escaped from a state-run homeless shelter. Paul Dowsley has the details.
We can reveal the identity of the 32-year-old woman police say is responsible for this shocking, random stabbing on Little Bourke Street in the city, where a 36-year-old woman who was walking to work was stabbed, attacked from behind. She was knifed in the chest. She was helped by strangers who rushed in, cradled on the footpath.
Fuck, hats off to those people really helping her. Imagine if people weren't around, she could have died. What sort of lunatic? Well, they are a lunatic. They're probably someone from a loony bin. That's probably what's going to come out here. Someone with mental health issues running around with a knife in the streets. What is this world coming to? And I'm from Melbourne, and I hate seeing Melbourne like this. It's just not safe. The city is absolutely fucked. I've got no other words to say it other than that. And I'm there just about every single day of the week. You get all sorts of people there who, I'm not saying everybody who is schizophrenic or anything like that is a bad person, but there's a lot of people like that there who are doing a lot of antisocial behaviours, yelling, screaming, banging things, kicking shit. You don't even turn around when you hear screaming and someone just mouthing off anymore because it's normal. That's the state of the city. It's absolutely stuffed. That, and also there's a lot of, I think, people that are on substances. It's just shocking. Like, I just hate to see it.
As she bled before police arrived to give more help, but the attacker had already fled. The knife was still in her hand. The victim spent 3 days in hospital with a collapsed lung.
But she's smiling about it. Like, it'd be interesting to know what this person is diagnosed with, that they can just knife someone like that. It doesn't sound like she's really that, bothered that she's done it, just lightly jogging along with a smile on her face, that she's gone to stab someone for no reason. And you know what the sad thing is? I'm not even really surprised that that's happened. I saw this article and this story yesterday by the time you guys read it and see this video. This would be almost old news. I thought to myself, yeah, it's fucking Melbourne. Excuse my language. I just hate seeing it. And there's that poor woman who was attacked like that. Now, had a punctured lung. It's my understanding she's on the mend, but she's going to have mental health issues from this for the rest of her life. She's not going to feel safe walking in the street. In this first world country we're living in, you can't feel safe walking out in the street without being attacked.
The suspect that police arrested is Lauren DeRule. She has now been charged over the attack on October 2, and she was on bail at the time. She had been a resident at the nearby Make Room, which is also on Little Bourke Street. It provides accommodation for the homeless, and it's believed police had been looking for her because she had missed a mandatory medical appointment to deal with her mental health and required medication. Today, politicians also shared their shock, and it's reignited big questions about Victoria's bail laws and spiralling knife crime.
The Victorian government have failed when it comes.
I don't care if people got mental health issues. If you're going to be in the street doing that, strung up. Strung up. Firing squad. It's deplorable.
It's a knife crime. and their only answer is a machete bin that isn't working.
Well, we have already moved to give Victoria Police stronger stop and search powers when it comes to dealing with offenders who are carrying these dangerous weapons on our streets. And as a result, they've seized more than 12,000 dangerous weapons, and that is in addition to the more than 5,000 machetes that have been handed in as part of our ban on machetes in this state.
Can she prove that those are from criminal sources? I would say the vast majority of machetes. So that woman was stabbed with a knife, by the way. So it wasn't a machete, so you can't claim victory on that. How many were from people who were criminals who have been using them to fight and do, you know, robberies and stuff like that, and actually attack people with them? I reckon it would probably arguably be zero or very close to. They're probably from people who have them in the back shed for gardening purposes and don't want to get pinged by the police, so they go and put it in the bin.
The City of Melbourne, we are massively expanding our Safe City camera network. We're going to put 100 new CCTV cameras on the streets in the next 12 months. We're looking to double the network over this term of council.
The suspect, Lauren Darul, is now in custody, but she is in...
Far out, like she's gone downhill pretty quick from her original photos. Probably, drug use, probably on the shard.
In court next Tuesday. It is understood that is an application for bail.
Oh, yeah. Better not get bailed. There's other things I'd want to say, but I can't say them on YouTube. I'm actually really annoyed about this. All right, move on to the next one. Drive-by shootings in Sydney.
News with Amber Laidler.
Good afternoon. A man is lucky to be alive after a gunman opens fire on his home in the city's southwest. It was the second shooting in the space of just 20 minutes last night, with the city's gun violence seemingly escalating at a terrifying pace. Inga Nelson reports.
3 bullets were fired straight into this home at West Hoxton's, one of 2 drive-by shootings this morning. The first at Preston's, a nearby suburb in Sydney's west. Gunshots ringing out on Blue Gum Avenue at 1 a.m. Firing into this home.
One of those shots narrowly missed one of the occupants inside that premises.
Police say 2 gunmen were in a white Mercedes, seen idling in the street for up to 2 minutes before opening fire. The same car 20 minutes later on Greenway Drive at West Hoxton. We heard gunshots.
That's got to clearly be sort of gun related. You don't just go shooting rounds into a house for no reason. All right, let's move on. Hero tradies taking down dudes doing armed robbery in Queensland, the Gold Coast.
Now, straight to some breaking news from the Gold Coast, where a tradie has taken down a man during an attempted robbery. Live to Today Queensland reporter Mia Glover, who's at the scene in Bigara Waters. Mia, what can you tell us?
Good morning to you again, Jane. Well, this is just extraordinary vision that we've just received from Hope Energy here, a petrol station on Brisbane Road in Bigara Waters. We'll take you straight to that vision. It happened at about 5:15 this morning. A young bloke around 24 years old allegedly entered the servo saying he was armed. He was demanding money, cigarettes and other sort of items. And then there was a customer behind him kind of standing in line, putting his hands up when he noticed what was going on. But then without a flinch, that customer tackled the 24-year-old to the...
Eat shit. Just sling tackle to the ground. There should be more of it. That's toxic masculinity right there, guys.
Ground. He held him there for quite some time before another person also helped him restrain him and keep him on the floor until police arrived. They were pretty quick to do so within about 15 minutes or so.
Yeah. All right, halfway, guys. If you're enjoying the show today, I know there's not much to enjoy with those first couple of stories. Consider subbing to the channel, like, comment, share. If you want to support the channel, there are ways to do so in the pinned comment or video description. Let's keep going. Greta Thunberg, these people, I'm going to lay into these people. Here we go.
Well, Australians who participated in Greta Thunberg's flotilla to Gaza have spoken about their harrowing ordeal. They've described the horrific conditions they were forced to endure in an Israeli prison and have complained that they had to pay their own way home. is Juliette Lamont.
Our medication was restricted, food and water. The cells are 6 metres by 3.5. I walked it out. Nobody was given any menstrual napkins, and we were routinely woken up.
What is a menstrual napkin? I mean, what, a pad, tampon? Or what are we talking about here? A menstrual napkin. Obviously, I'm a dude and I don't know about these things, but I've never heard of that thing ever in my life.
In the middle of the night with huge blasting lights with Alsatians and 20 men in riot gear. And this went on and on and on.
And here I was thinking people who sail into an active war zone, despite repeated warnings not to do so, would be put up at the Sheraton. Here's another protester apparently upset that Australian taxpayers didn't pay for his flights home.
Many of us spent days on Skyscanner trying to get flights home. Myself, I flew Amman, Kuwait, Dubai, China, Sydney on a very expensive flight that I've had to pay for myself to get home.
Well done, mate. Well, you should have paid that, you complete fucking flog. Why would you go there? Why would you go and do that? Get a job, you loser. I know I've got one way of solving your problem there, champion. Don't go there in the first place, you freedom fighter. You're lucky you're not dead. You're worried about having to pay, I have to pay my flight home. You're lucky you can walk. Get behind a cause you've actually got skin in the game. And how about coming here, back home to Australia, and why don't we go and protest for maybe help for the homeless? You know, everyone march in the streets and help them if you want a cause to really get behind. Or anti-violence in Melbourne, let's get behind that. No, let's go over with Greta fucking Thunberg and go over to Palestine. You got off that lightly. And you thought the taxpayer was going to pay. We're going to pay for it. I would have been absolutely ropeable if they would have used our money to do that. Waste of space.
Joining me now is Sky News host Rowan Dean. Rowan, I want to move on to some other topics, but first, I got to get your reaction. Can you believe these guys?
Well, the torture and going on and on and on is definitely a case of a taste of their own medicine. The torture for the last couple of years for many of us has been listening to Greta Thunberg and her clown show, wandering around the Mediterranean.
Don't get me started on her. Like, just she's obviously something. She's a stubby short of a six pack, and she's being used as a tool by whoever puppet masters are getting her out there. You probably couldn't find anyone more insufferable just about than her. And that's a big call.
That they have something to offer to world geopolitics. And as for that character, as you say, maybe he shouldn't have bothered, because the world is in no better shape for their efforts. In fact, the lives of the hostages and the lives of many Palestinians at the mercy of Hamas would be in worse shape thanks to their efforts, because along with Penny Wong and Anthony Albanese, all that Thunberg and those clowns managed to do was drag out the process that finished so brilliantly the other evening. But those people actually prolonged Hamas's sense that they could actually win this thing by eking out the agony. So, they should have learned their lesson. They won't learn their lesson. No doubt next time there's some other place that they can get some media attention, they'll do so. But seriously, I think the world's had enough of Thunberg and her clowns.
Yeah, and you know what? You got a huge cohort of people who love and celebrate her. And she's pushed and hyped up by the media. Hey, she was all over the media. How dare you saying all that shit to Donald Trump, because everyone has a hate boner for Donald Trump. And I'm ranting today, just a bit revved up about the state of this world. Just absolute flogs everywhere. Australian-based, majority of them too. What's going on here? I'm not even getting started yet, because this next article that I'll talk through after I get through this a little bit, it's going to piss you right off.
Have a listen to this pro-Palestine protester being investigated by UK police after chanting, "Put the Zios in the ground." His name is Samuel Williams. He's reportedly a student at Oxford, where he studies politics, philosophy and economics. Here he is.
Gaza, Gaza, make us proud, put the Zios in the ground. Gaza, Gaza, make us proud, put the Zios in the ground. Gaza, Gaza, make us proud, put the Zios in the ground. Gaza, Gaza, make us proud, put the Zios in the ground.
Can you think of any more of a flog? We've got our own one here in Australia, and we're going to talk about him soon. So hang on, you're some privileged white kid, all done up in the Palestinian garb, spewing out hate messages about something you've got nothing to do with. Going to Oxford University. That's why I always talk about that the universities are political indoctrination camps that create a lot of fanatics.
On a couple of days after the event, police have said they're investigating and the university will look into it. Do you think someone chanting for, I don't know, Muslims to be put in the ground would make it to the end of the day or even the end of the street without being charged?
No, of course not. And this is just a sign, James, of how far Western civilization, in particular one of the leading lights of Western civilization, Britain, has fallen to the leftist march through the long march through the institutions. Oxford, James, Oxford University is the oldest university in the English-speaking world. It's probably the second oldest university in the world. There were students there 30 years after the Battle of Hastings and the Norman Conquest. That's how old that university is. You think of Brideshead Revisited, Canterbury Tales, Oxford University features in all of those great works of literature. And here we have, it's called the humanities, James, the subjects that aren't necessarily medicine and the ones that actually mean something, engineering and so on. The
humanities, arts degrees, fucking gender studies, whatever. Anyway, let's move on. That's their contribution to society, being political activists. Well done.
Outrageous decision by the New South Wales Supreme Court today to effectively allow aggressive pro-Palestinian protesters to target people for their...
And once again, I take no side or anything with this whole conflict. I think it's horrible everything that's going on in the world and people being violent and all that sort of stuff. I think it's horrible. Well, you know what I'm annoyed at? It's all here. It's here in Australia. It's here in Melbourne. You've got people storming the streets and protesting this shit week in, week out. That's what I care about. That's what I'm angry about. Not on the actual conflict itself. I'll get some flog in the comments saying, "Oh, you're pro-genocide." I'm pro none of anything. You know what I'm pro? Fuckwits staying home and not protesting in the streets for shit that they have nothing to do with. How about that?
Their religion. New South Wales Premier Chris Minns had introduced a law some 6 months ago to give police the power to move people on when they were protesting outside any house of worship. Sensible and obvious. But the extremist Palestine Action Group tried to overturn it. And the Supreme Court Justice Anna Mitchell-Moore today caved in, ruling the law impermissibly burdens the implied constitutional freedom of communication on government or political matters and is invalid.
We need people with common sense in these high positions of power, politics, law, etc. None of these nufties who, empathise with all these ideologies. Like, how about we just have people making common sense decisions, please?
What rubbish. This is the court giving in to hate. People have a right to protest, sure, and no one is stopping them.
No, they don't, because we don't. When I say we, everyday Australians, doesn't matter what colour you are. I'm not talking about white people. Doesn't matter what colour you are. If you're living here, you're a permanent resident here in Australia, and you can't go on march for Australia. No, you're not allowed to do that. That is condemned. But you can have this pro-Palestinian action group out there every week. You got this dickhead who's going to be on I've got on the show in a second, carrying on, screaming, saying extremist stuff. Fucking ginger nut from bloody Brunswick or wherever he's from. That's all right, but we can't. You can't go and say, you know what? How about we just stop migration? The joint is full for now. How about that? You can't say that. You're a Nazi. You're one of Hitler's right-hand men. You're made fun of. You're widely chastised. But let's just have people in the street burning the Aussie flag. That's fine.
But it's about where they protest. And Australians also have a right to religious freedom and to pray in safety. Now, let's just repeat that point again. People have a right to pray in peace without being harassed and yelled at. That's what these laws are about. And if you're protesting near someone who's praying, it's hard to argue it's anything other than pure racism. It's not about Israel, it's about Jews specifically. And by the way, this law isn't specific to Jews. It means people could be moved on by police if they were protesting outside a church, a mosque, a Buddhist temple, or any house of worship. The Palestine Action Group launched this appeal in the Supreme Court. Its organiser, Josh Lees, led the push, and he was celebrating his win.
How's a guy leading the Palestine Action Group named Josh Lees? Get a job, buddy. Do something meaningful with your life. If it was someone from Israel, I would get it. You're not. Your university dropout or something like that.
In outside court today.
So today is a win for the Palestine movement, and not just for the Palestine movement, for everyone who ever might want to protest for anything in this state, whether that's union rights, for workers' rights, for LGBT rights, for the environment. As we said, all of these rights and the causes were under attack by Min's laws.
This is not an individual acting in good faith. Just 48 hours after the October 7 attacks, where babies and children were murdered, Josh Lee said that Palestinians have the right to resist.
The victims and being massacred are also on the side of the Palestinians when they fight back.
He has also refused to condemn Hamas.
You view Hamas as a terrorist organisation or a group of freedom fighters?
Yeah, but you want to start with that question, but that doesn't...
This guy's probably Australia's biggest dickhead right now. He's right up there, in my honest opinion. I'm not the only one who thinks it.
Get it out of the way if you answer it.
That's not where the conversation can start. That's the problem. And, we've been obviously bombarded with these questions.
But why don't we just answer... Let's just answer the question and then I'll move on. It's pretty simple. You've got the power. Answer the question.
Well, I think we should start with the fact that Israel is a terrorist state, actually.
And he protests alongside hateful chants like this. He also repeatedly chants slogans which effectively call for the entire destruction of Israel.
It's the biggest psyop ever that we've got Western people getting involved and protesting for all these causes. They made these people feel like they've got something to get behind because I'm pretty sure guys like this and other people who are Australians out there, they have no skin in the game, they've got nothing else going on in their life. Everyone's getting on the bandwagon because it's a platform to abuse to make themselves popular and heard. I just don't get it. I've said it in a number of videos now. I don't get it. As I said, it's like me going and, protesting for... I'm Indian Action Group activist. I'm not Indian, mate. I couldn't be any further than Indian. Just so you know. Surely people look at me and if I'm wearing a turban and I'm there chanting, I'll be looking like the biggest dickhead ever. Just like this guy. Have a look at him.
No justice, no peace. Israel out of the Middle East.
Yeah, peaceful protest, guys. Peaceful protest. That's that shit that's in our streets. I'm sick and tired of it. I'm not picking sides. I'm sick of the protests either fucking side.
Another former member of the Palestine Action Group applauded Hamas on October 9th, 2023, and you can see Josh Lees in the background.
So to anyone who comes out with an argument that says Hamas is a terrorist Colonisation. Let me tell you that it is internationally recognised that we Palestinians, as Hamas, have a right to resist ethnic cleansing.
Why should people like this be able to protest as Jews are going into a place of worship?
It's only hate speech if you say things about the Australian government. The Australian government gets behind all this shit. That allows it to happen. Join's fucked. I know I'm swearing a bit in this episode. I've just had enough of it. Every day, every bloody day, the news is full of this shit.
Worship. That's not about Israel. It's about religion. Yet this is a group that had a win thanks to New South Wales Supreme Court Justice Anna
Here we go.
Today.
Picture says it all.
She stands condemned. Josh Lees and much of the media have tried to pretend that Chris Minns passed these laws because of the caravan of explosives.
He passed these laws exploiting and exacerbating the fear created around the Dural caravan hoax, what we now know is a big criminal con job. We know that Chris Minns' government knew the reality of that criminal con job and yet did his best to keep the public and the parliament in the dark.
But that's not why Minns passed these laws. The Premier introduced them because Jews were being targeted in synagogues. I broke the story on air in December last year that police
shouldn't tolerate any of this shit, people getting in the streets and saying hateful things. Doesn't matter where you're from. Why they're letting this... It's obviously why they let it happen, because Albo and his mates, they're all about the cause. Getting up and saying, everybody in Australia, we're all involved in this and we all care about it and we recognise Palestine as a state and all this sort of shit. Never asked me. Pretty sure they didn't go out to a vote.
Police were keeping Jews at the Great Synagogue in lockdown because of the intimidating and aggressive conduct of protesters outside. Well, let's go to some breaking news now, and I'm hearing that there are pro-Palestinian protests right now outside the Great Synagogue in the city in Sydney. So pro-Palestinian protesters are currently outside the Great Synagogue. This is an incident. Police are there. But why do these protesters have to protest outside a Jewish place of worship?
Because they're trying to scare people, being intimidating and inflaming things here. We've imported this. We've brought this all here. We've brought it to our shores, and this is our new reality. All this hate and fanaticism and all of these conflicts that have been going on for thousands of years on the other side of the world, they're now here for us all to deal with. And that's why I think Australia's fucked. All right, that's the end of my spiel for today. I probably won't be monetized. I don't care. I'm going to upload the video. Have a great Saturday, guys. I'll try and be more upbeat in the next one if I get reason to be. Thank you.